A very good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us for this afternoon for the Penang Hill Festival 2026 Biodiversity Talk on Life Above the Ground, the Flying Fauna of Penang Hill. My name is Tachani Dharmaraja, Senior Project Officer from the Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve Office, and it's my pleasure to be your moderator for today's session. Today, we gather to explore the fascinating side of Penang Hill that often goes unnoticed. When we walk around the Penang Hill, we mostly enjoy the scenery around. But how many of us we have stopped and looked above the life above the ground? Eye above Earth, the forest canopy and sky of Penang Hill are home to an incredible diversity of wildlife. And this afternoon, our speaker will be take us on a journey beyond the forest floor to discover the remarkable animals that play important roles in maintaining healthy ecosystem of the Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve. We will also meet some of the endemic, rare, and threatened species that makes the Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve a globally significant landscape for the biodiversity conservation. Today's session is not only about learning about wildlife, it's about appreciating biodiversity and recognize that every species, no matter how small are them, has an important role in keeping our ecosystem healthy. So with hers, we have five incredible speakers: Mr. Kanta Kumar from MNS, Dr. Lim from the USM, Mr. Tan Eng Hua from Entopia, Mr. Gan Kim Chua from Entopia, and Miss Lavinia Neo from Entopia. Okay, today let's begin with one section where I would like to briefly introduce the biodiversity overview of the Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve. So this presentation is just to give you an introduction about our incredible biodiversity. So you have heard PHBR or Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve is rich in biodiversity. But anyone of you know how rich they are? And what are the remarkable nature treasure that exist here that make this space a very special, full, and unique full ecosystem? So before that, let me introduce to you what is UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. So UNESCO Biosphere Reserve is designated and recognized by the internationally by the UNESCO Man and Biosphere Program. And this is to demonstrate how nature and human can coexist harmoniously. And there are three core functions of Biosphere Reserve, which is conservation, sustainable development, and logistic support. And globally, for today's date, there are 797 biosphere reserves in 145 countries. And in Malaysia, they have 4 biosphere reserves. Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve is the third biosphere reserve designated on 15 September 2021. And it is the first urban adjacent biosphere reserve in Malaysia, which means the biosphere reserve is just next to the urban area, and it is easily accessible by us and to feel how nature coexists with the urban adjacent. So when we talk about Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve, it is not only about the hill. The Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve covers from the hill to the ocean. So the total coverage area of Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve is 12,481 hectares, where it covers approximately 25% of the Penang Island terrestrial area. And 5,196 hectares of Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve area is actually marine area. So with that, as we see, it covers from hill to ocean. That is one of the reasons it supports very rich biodiversity. So within a single biosphere reserve, we have various of ecosystems which support the lives. So as you can see here, we have the hill terrestrial, lowland terrestrial, freshwater, coastal and marine, mangrove, meromictic lake, and semi-natural landscape. Do anyone of you know that the only Malaysian meromictic lake is found at Penang? Okay, yeah, it's at the Pantai Karachut. So this is a very unique ecosystem where it has both fresh water and also the salt water, and they don't mix together. And both layers support two different aquatic life actually. Okay, so to answer the question, how rich we are. Okay, as you see here, PHBR is a biodiversity hotspot which support more than 700 fauna species from different groups such as mammals, reptilia, amphibians, birds, invertebrates, and also fish, marine and freshwater fish. Beside that, there are more than 2,500 floral species and more than 90 species of fungi found at PHBR area. So within 12,481 hectares, it support more than 30 species and support not only that, another thing that make PHBR a special ecosystem is because it also support more than 30 endemic species, which means the species that found nowhere else in the earth except for Penang Island. Beside endemic species, PHBR also support the life of more than 90 species, which is classified as threatened species by IUCN. So I could not introduce to you all these 700 species of mammals, but I would like to highlight some of the special or remarkable wildlife of PHBR. So first, let's see what is endemic species. Anyone know what is endemic species is? Okay, so endemic species means the species which only found at a particular location and you could not find nowhere else on the earth. So PHBR is quite special because we are on the island. We don't only support endemic, but we also life which is hyper endemic on PHBR. The first one is the Penang street toad, also scientifically known as Ansonia penangiana, is an endemic toad found only at rocky stream of Penang Hill. The second one, how it look like actually? Any guess? Snake? Okay, it is a reptile, but it's not snake. It's actually limbless lizard. And this is the only limbless lizard of Penang and it is hyper endemic on the Penang Hill. Next is the Penang Island rock gecko. It is also an hyper-endemic species that inhibit the shaded granite outcrops of the forest boulders of Penang Hill. The next one, what you are seeing there is the Penang Island slender gecko, or it also found only in Penang Island, and this forest species is classified as vulnerable. Okay, how many of you know there is a vampire crab? That means the land crab here at Penang Hill. Okay, yes. How many species are? The one mostly we know is the one species where we call the Penang Hill vampire crab, or scientifically known as Gyosarma faustum. But do you know there's another vampire crab? We have two vampire crab which is endemic to Penang Island. So another one is the Penang Island vampire crab, which also carry the name of Penang on its scientific name, the Gyosarma penangiense. This is also another tiny endemic crab, which is only found in Penang Island. And for your information, the Penang Hill vampire crab is hyper endemic and only can found at Penang Hill. So hyper-endemic means if the species is lost from this area, that means there are no more on the world. So next, let's go to the flagship species. So here I would like to highlight the species which is classified as endangered species by the IUCN. So the first one is Malayan pangolin, or we known as tenggiling. So we do have the Malayan pangolin and PHBR area. So these are the very incredible nature pest control, but this is also one of the world's most trafficked mammal due to the skill and also for the meat. The next one is Sunda slow loris. So this is one of the Penang Hill's secretive nocturnal resident, but even though they live secretive, but they are not safe from human threats. The next one is the special Healy spiny turtle or terrapin. So this very dependent on healthy forest ecosystem of Penang Hill, and they are also classified as endangered. So this is our iconic species, the dusky leaf lengua, or we know as spectacle monkey. Okay, we can say, oh, I can see this everywhere, right? At Langkawi, at Phuket. But do you know they are endangered too? They are highly traded, especially for the golden baby. Not only the dusky leaf lengua, even the normal long-tailed macaw, even though we say them everywhere, but they are also endangered because they are the highly trafficked primates which illegally traffic for biomedical research purpose. So the next one, let's move on down to the ocean and the coastal area. So we have the hawksbill turtle, which is one of the world's most endangered sea turtle, and they are also found at the PHBR coastal and marine area. How many of you know that we have dolphin? Not one, we have 3 species. Okay, so Penang coastal have 3 species of dolphin, and this is the Irrawaddy dolphin. So this is a rare coastal dolphin that indicates a healthy marine ecosystem. According to the recent DOF report, they said nowadays the sighting of these dolphins are dramatically decreasing. This means our marine ecosystem really need a serious attention because they only comes when the healthy marine ecosystem supports them. The next one, let's move on to the flying birds. So the first one is the blue-winged leaf bird. So this is a vibrant forest and also targeted for the illegal trading. This is the cruller sandpiper. These are not native species, but they're the migrant species. So this shows the Penang Hill does not only support the native species, but PHBR also become a important coastal wetland as an important stopover for the migratory birds, which later Mr. Kanda can explain to us more about this. Okay, after we see all these species, you must wonder, why biodiversity matter to us? We need to understand something. Biodiversity is not something that surrounding us, but we are a part of biodiversity. So, biodiversity is not just about animal and plants, it is the incredible variety of life, including human, that support us every single day. So, a healthy forest will protect the water source and provide us with the clean water. Next, who can tell me where do we get the oxygen? From the trees. So, from the forest. But do you know about half of the oxygen is actually from the marine plants? So tiny marine plants, including the phytoplankton, do produce oxygen for our daily living. Next, biodiversity and the pollinators and the healthy ecosystem also support the agriculture and fisheries, and they become our main food source. Next, but without a good ecosystem regulates the climate, where forests and marine store the carbon and reduce the impact of climate change. Biodiversity also supports sustainable livelihood, where it supports ecotourism, research, education, and local communities. And with a good, healthy biodiversity, we can reduce the disaster risk, where it helps the ecosystem and community to withstand the nature disaster. So, conserving biodiversity means not only conserving the ecosystem, but it's actually to conserve the support of life, the livelihood, and also for the future generation. So, protecting biodiversity is not only job for researchers, government, and also conservationists, but it starts from us. Even a small steps and the decision that we take, we can play a big role in protecting biodiversity. Simple one: respect the nature. When you are in the nature, we can enjoy the wildlife, but try to be far from them. Feeding wildlife is not going to help them, but it's going to give them more serious problem. Next, leave no trace or trash, because one of the biggest challenge in biodiversity is pollution, especially for the marine life. So let's try to dispose the waste responsibly and also help keep the nature clean. And then say no to illegal wildlife trade. When we are supporting the product from wildlife, we are actually increasing the demand. So increase in demand will cause increasing in wildlife trafficking also. Next, if you know any illegal wildlife crime, you can report to the Perhilatan at the number or to the email. Next, be part of conservation. If you don't know where to start, there are a lot of organizations, including Penang Hill and Topia. We are running a lot of conservation programs. You can join us to contribute. Next, share the awareness. So after this talk, whatever you have learned, you can share with your friends. If you found any program that you want to join, share with your friends. So, as I said, biodiversity is not something around us. Biodiversity is something we are in it, right? So biodiversity is everywhere. It provides the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and the healthy ecosystem that sustain all the life. So the remarkable landscape of PHBR nurture an extraordinary diversity of the life from sea beneath its shores to the hill forest and canopy above it. So this is why PHBR is a very rich in biodiversity and a place where we need to protect and conserve. So now let's take one step closer to the life above the ground and discover the fascinating life of the flying fauna of PHBR. So for that, I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. Kandakumar. So let me introduce. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker for today's section, Mr. Kandakumar. Mr. Kanda is respected environmental conservationist who has been actively involved in nature conservation since 1972. An honorary member of the Malaysian Nature Society and currently an advisor to MNS Penang branch. He has dedicated more than 5 decades to protect and promoting Penang's natural heritage. He is also the founder of the Bird Conservation Council and served as the first chairman of the MNS Bird Conservation Council and playing a vital role in advancing bird conservation effort in Malaysia. Mr. Kanda is especially well known for his bird watching walks on the Penang Hill, where he has inspired countless students, volunteers, and members of the public to appreciate birds and understand their vital role in forest ecosystem. He has also played a key role in training volunteers for the Asian waterbird census, strengthening longbird bird monitoring and conservation effort in Penang. Beyond his fieldwork, Mr. Kanda has contributed extensively to environmental publication, including an annotated checklist of the bird of Penang, common bird of Penang Botanic Garden, and as a co-author of Field Guide to the Waterbirds of Asia. His lifelong dedicating to conservation, education, and biodiversity documentation has made a lasting contribution to the nature conservation in Penang. Today, he will be presenting to us about the bird of the Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve. Please give a hand to Mr. Kandakumar.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. Good afternoon. First, thank you very much for attending this talk. I'm not going to talk much about what birds are found in this thing or what type of birds are found, because if you go into the internet, you can get all these things. I'm more going to concentrate on why birds are important for us and why without birds, your environment won't be what it is today, and how birds actually make our planet livable, right? So, and one of the things I want to show is this is a spoonbill, spoonbill sandpiper. It's one of the rarest birds. This thing, it is estimated there are only 200 pairs in the world. Its breeding grounds are in Russian Siberia and of all places, North Vietnam. You can't go in and do anything there. Sorry, North Korea. Okay, we have reports that it has been found in the Balik Pulau mangrove mudflats area. We need confirmation of this. Okay, next. Okay, this is just a simple this thing. Why? I don't want to go through the whole thing. It's just that we need to respect our environment. It's not yours. It belongs to the whole planet, including animals, plants, and everything. So take care of it so everybody can enjoy it and live longer. Okay, next. Okay, birds are not just eye candy, beautiful birds too. It's something in a lot of cultures. Birds are actually a healing animal. It's not healing that's trying to keep it in a cage. It's healing by looking at them, enjoying their colors, enjoying their behavior. All right. Okay, next. Okay, this is showing the economics. I won't go too much into this thing, but look at this. I could not find an earlier study earlier than 2001. And this is in Kenya, in the East Coast. So how much money it actually brings in. It's not something that just flies around there and say it brings a lot of economic benefit to the people. Next. Okay. We all think, oh, the bees are all going off because of pollution and all these things. But birds are one of the important species that not only pollinate your plants and this thing, including your agricultural produce, they also help to disperse the seeds, not only in the forest, but outside the forest area. All right. So, of course, in an agriculture, the situation is the humans who are propagating it. Right? But sometimes it's the birds that eat the fruits, go somewhere else, and you've got the diversity, this thing. Otherwise, it's like inbreeding within this thing. If humans alone do it, it's the same thing planted everywhere. It's like almost like inbreeding. So we got only one type. And that's why we have problems, because species, invasive species attack or virus attack, your whole crops gets destroyed. But if you have birds and spreading the seeds from one place to the other, you got a diverse population of the same species that helps genetically to fight off other unknown diseases that come through. Okay. Okay, this is only for vultures, right? They eat all the dead this thing. Now, rabies doesn't affect birds. So they actually eat up the dead birds, especially rodents and others that may carry rabies. So this is, of course, not in Malaysia, but just to show you how important. But here, we all don't like crows, but crows actually go and clean up your environment. Not only the dead things or so, but the garbage that we throw, they clean up. Of course, as they are also a predatory species, they will take young birds as well, right? So, but that is nature. Okay, next. Okay, a lot of people talk about birds bring disease. One, when the bird flu came in, everybody say, oh, migratory birds, this thing. But the problem was that the people who are rearing domestic this thing allowed the domestic ducks, geese, and chicken to mix up with the water birds that carry the virus, but they were immune. Whereas the domestic ones were not immune. And from there, it started spreading. So whose fault is that? Right? You intrude into some areas where you're not supposed to, and the species jumps. The same with now the last Hunan virus, this thing is totally different because there's a lot of confusion. Some say it was manufactured, right? So that's a totally different story. I don't want to go into that, but so that is this thing. This is another one. Now people are saying that if originally this virus affected pigeons, it affects your brain. The virus affects the brain. But in the wild, it's not a problem until people started domesticating the pigeons, keeping them in their houses, and then after that, they let them fly. So they are all over the place. Your original pigeons that, what in Malay is called merpati, your domestic pigeons. Originally, they were called rock pigeons. They lived in rocks in the hills. UE brought them in and then domesticated them, and then they fly all over this thing. And then you can't blame the birds for that. We are the ones who brought them into our environment, right? So you don't say, okay, we kill all the pigeons in this thing, okay? what else? Most of these pigeons now, the problem is they are actually roosting in high-rise buildings under the roof. This is where this thing, and nobody goes and cleans them up. Or this is part of, I wouldn't say, the hazards of modern living, because we have high-rise buildings. In those days, it's all one story, attap houses. They don't come into your house and roost. They were just flying around, right? So this thing. Okay, next. Okay. One of the reasons there's a population decrease in population, one is habitat loss. The other one is also a human, this thing is global warming. Now, global warming has been going on for eons, but it's a gradual global warming, and then the cold comes in where you have the ice age. Now it's a very accelerated this thing. So birds cannot, or not only birds, any form of life, including humans, can't really cope up with the change, right? And if you look at the report from UK, I think 2,000 people would have died because of the heat stroke that's going on in UK. So, of course, here not say, but so fast change in climate actually is very hazardous to every living thing, right? Okay, 23% of our birds have been threatened, 44% are already on decline, and more birds will be on decline if we are not do what we could call change our lifestyle. Change of lifestyle actually helps in reducing global warming. Right. Next. Okay, this is for economic point of view, right? Nature guides, birds watching is a industry, and nature guides also are the ones who, either bird guides or nature guides, are the people who help to disseminate information, help people to go around and look at birds and this thing. So this is basically for those people here or this thing who are nature guides or bird guides, and who others who please, their ambition is to be one of their career as a nature guide or this thing. So one of the most important things is, if you cannot identify your bird, you just tell your clients or the people, say, sorry, I can't identify. Don't go and tell them some story and this thing. That actually is very harmful. So you say, I'm not qualified for this, I'm a nature guide, I'm not a bird person. Or if you're a bird, say, I've never seen this bird before. Let's look up this thing. So that is ecotourism, nature ecotourism. You tell the truth, don't hide the truth, right? Okay, for those interested in bird watching, you need to be patient, and it takes a lot of time. Even now, sometimes I forget the name of the bird, right? And when I get home, I know the bird now. It's useless. I can't tell the people what it is. So that's part of nature, right? Okay, next. Okay, this is another thing that many people do not know. A lot of our inventions are based on studying. We talk only of, we get this herb medicine from plants and all the thing. There are a lot of inventions that we learn from nature, not just birds alone. Some of the glue that people use actually is from marine organism, limpets. They stick to the rock. They use a kind of a secretion that glues them. Some of the glue is actually mimicking that kind of a thing, right? So this thing. So I'll go now to the design of these birds. Next. Okay, this is what you think your aeroplane, your stealth fighter is something they invented. They copied the peregrine falcon. When it's diving like this, and it's got a kind of a membrane. It closes, it can see, but the wind and the dust doesn't get it. It's going at about 100 something miles per hour. Right? So from that, they got the design. Your aeroplane wing. This is the Japanese bullet train. The design is based on the kingfishers, this thing, because the kingfisher dives into the waters like that. So they've used that one to design. It's not exactly the same, but the idea, they study the thing, they put it into a wind tunnel, then they improve on that. So you get the idea. And what surprised me most was hammers using woodpeckers, right? And most people don't realize the woodpecker's brain is anchored by very strong muscles to the skull. So when it pecks, your head goes. So otherwise, your brain will be just shaking, right? And it goes, right? This one holds it together. But how it translates for hammer, I'm not sure. But this is the whole, because I don't think you get this kind of hammers in this country. But in Western countries, they use this a lot. They just hook it up. So you lose it, it still doesn't drop. It's still within your hand. This hands here. Okay. Next. Okay, now we'll talk about birds itself. A lot of people are interested. These are your common birds that you find not only on the hill, but in your urban area. This is a myna. This is an introduced species. If you don't like people introduction of species, blame the Hokkiens. This was brought in by the early Chinese because it's found in South China, right? So when they came here, they missed this common bird. It was introduced in Penang, and it's been in Penang for a long time. Only now it has moved. When the bridge came up, I was sure it was going to go over, but very few has gone over. Surprisingly, they've introduced this in New Zealand. I don't know if it's still surviving. In Vancouver, now they say it's gone no more. Because you have to feed it during winter, otherwise they'll go off, right? But it's a very hardy bird. This is sometimes they call it Indian myna or this thing. This is the so-called talking myna, right? This is, and this is, now it's called jungle myna. In my younger days, it was called a buffalo myna because it sits on the buffalo. As the buffalo walks, it kicks up all the insects, right? See? So it goes and feeds. I think the oxpecker in Africa also does the same thing. Okay, so these are the 4 species that you can find in Penang. This is quite rare. When I first started bird watching, I couldn't find it, but it has been caught and this thing. But now it has come back. But I think it's from released populations, escapees and all. You can still find them in Penang Hill. Next. Okay, these are the bulbuls, the common bulbuls. This is the most common one you find in the garden. And if you have banana plantations, your banana leaves will be rolled up by some kind of a caterpillar. This is a butterfly caterpillar. It will always go and eat this one. You can see. Those people from the kampung will remember this brown leaf. These are jungle species. These are jungle species. This is a garden species. This is a jungle species. This is not that common. This is the hairy-backed bulbul. Okay, next. Okay, this is about a very good one. You know there's a bird at night or late morning, evening, go, wow, 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 right? It looks a bit like a crow, right? The main reason is this is a parasitic bird. It lays its eggs in the crow's nest. It's a cuckoo. Everybody thinks cuckoo is very small, right? Right. And just off the topic, right? Cuckoo, ta-da-da-da-dum. Beethoven's ta-da-da-da-dum. He copied the cuckoo. Plagiarism. So, okay, this is the male, this is the female, right? And this is our native crow. It's a large-billed crow, right? This was introduced. It was called Ceylon house crow those days, but now in Sri Lanka house crow, but now they just call it house crow. Why they brought this thing in? In those days, early 19 something, coffee was your main cash crop for Peninsular Malaysia. Then there was a crash for coffee. One, coffee, for some reason there was a crash, plus caterpillars attacked the coffee plant. In Sri Lanka, the crows were eating the caterpillars. So this British colonialists said, oh yeah, it's working. They brought it here. When the coffee crashed, they cut all the coffee trees and planted rubber. So where is your crow going to find food? Come to town. They have got lots of food thrown about. So that is how the house crow spread all over. Even now, you get them in East Coast, Perlis. So don't blame the crow, blame ourselves, right? So, but this is a rural bird. When I started birding, this was a northern species. Now it has gone right up south because the crow has brought them to the town area. Because it goes, like those days it used this bird's nest. Now this bird is so common, so they go and lay the eggs. The only difference between this is the normal cuckoo bird throws the egg out or throws the chick out. Here it's too big. So all hatch out at this. It doesn't throw. This bird's chick is not that strong to throw out the chicks of the crow. What happens is the moment the mother comes with, the mother crow comes with the bird, the chicks of this one opens his mouth and it's reddish in color. So the attraction is there. So it starts feeding. It starts feeding this chick. But the crows are very smart. When it comes to a certain stage, the chick of the quail has got spots like this. It hits it out. So sometimes you get, that's why you can see the crow population is still there, right? Because in the other cases, it's only feeds the host. The original bird doesn't survive because it's not being fed. Here, once it throws out, the crow can still feed its chick. And it lays only one egg in one crow's nest. So, and the other thing is about this thing is just off the topic. When the ambulance goes by, this one will start calling, right? Okay, next. Okay, one of the reasons why we talk about Penang Hill is that biosphere is just the biosphere includes Balik Pulau and all the mangrove area. So that's why we include this thing. Originally, when we talked about Penang Hill, we didn't include Balik Pulau area and parts of the northern coast. But now it's under the biosphere, this thing. So these are the common birds that are found along the mangroves and mudflats. This is a little egret, red egret, purple heron. These are cattle egret. And why it's like just like buffalo myna. Cattle egret is called cattle because it sits on the cattle. as the cattle moves about, all the insects come out, they go and eat them. So, and this is a grey heron. It's very sparse on the island, but on mainland Penang is very common, right? And this is a great eager, that's like lesser egret. Now, the reason why I put out this thing, these birds, because of global warming, for some reason now, they are no more migrants alone. They are actually resident now. And the joke is that sometimes we make, we came here to earn a living. In the end, you also don't want to go back or staying here. So the birds are doing the same thing. Okay, next. Okay, this one, now they say it's also non-going back. This is called a Chinese spawn heron, right? This is a breeding plumage. It comes here and then it goes back up north to breed. Now some of them are breeding here. This is a little heron that's always found in the den. This is a resident. And this is a reef egret. This is it comes in two versions, either all white or all black. Black is very uncommon, right? And if you read old literature, it's called a reef egret because it's found in rocks. But on Penang, you can find it on mudflats. So they can adapt to different conditions. Okay, next. Okay, these are the migratory birds that come to our western and part of the northern coast. Pantai Crouchwood actually partly is mud, right? Although it's a meromictic lake, when the tide really goes out, if you walk in, there's a small layer of mud underneath the fresh water and salt water. So I just showing you the different type of birds. This is a Eurasian Kulu. These are Wimerals, Great Shank, Common Sandpiper. Now, these birds cannot actually stay here because their nesting grounds are wetlands. We don't have freshwater wetlands here, natural freshwater wetlands. Wetlands are rice fields. You nest there, you'll plow the field and all gone. So you only get like egrets and all that nest in trees that start staying here to nest. Next. Okay, next.
Sorry, where do they nest then? Huh? Where, they don't nest here, where do they nest?
Siberia, North Korea again, Japan, China, parts of China. So, okay, one more, earlier one. Okay, next. Okay, these are doves. Now, doves and pigeons are actually same. Why? I mean, in English, eagles, hawks, buzzards, they're all birds of prey. Why they call? There's no scientific basis for naming the different. It's just that people in different areas start calling them different names and they keep it. So this is your spotted dove. This is what you find in the kampongs where they keep it in cages and look for singing, right? I don't know. What's so great about their singing compared to other singing birds? This is now being split into zebra dove because of these lines, and peaceful dove. This is one bird. Until today, you can still walk near and it won't fly away. Those days, most birds are not afraid of humans until we started eating them and catching them. Right? So, but this one, until today, you find on roadsides, sometimes you can eat seeds. And in town area, our pavements are not just pavements, the grass, it's all growing. So you can find them there and you can walk very near to them. So ours is now called peaceful dove, zebra dove. The one in Australia, it's the old name, peaceful dove. And of course, you've got colorful pigeons. There are many types of green pigeons. They are all colorful. And these are still forest birds. You would be surprised where 𝐶𝐶 Drive is now. When after reclaiming, it was like bushland. These birds were nesting there. Otherwise, up on the hills. So you create an environment, birds know how to colonize. Once it's gone, either they disappear or go back to their original place. This is a thick-billed pigeon. It's quite common up on Penang Hill area. Okay, next. Okay, these are the different types of kingfishers we have. The only one is, this is a forest kingfisher. It's a migrant. It comes here during the migratory season and goes back. When I was was transferred long ago to PJ, the Unda expedition, I was there. This was actually nesting along a riverbank, so there are residents as well. But my slides are all not digital slides, they are all the old-fashioned slides. And this is the largest kingfisher we have. It's almost the same as an Australian kookaburra. The Australian kookaburra is a dry area kingfisher. The name kingfisher is a misnomer. They don't, this is a kingfisher you find in town area. Its main diet is lizards, large insects, lizards and all. It does take it when it takes fish, it's in your pond. And this is now getting very rare. It's a migratory species, and usually it's found in mangrove or rice fields. And even now, this has become very rare. It used to come along botanical gardens, the river, right up to the botanical gardens. For the last maybe 5 years, I haven't seen it in this thing already. Partly because of the reclamation works going on in Tanjung Tokong and this thing. So the mangrove is no more there. So I suppose they don't come there. So they don't come to the river. So, okay. This is a common fisher. It's called common because it's found all over. It's from Europe right up to Asia and all. But here it's a migrant. It comes and goes. Okay, next. This is an Asian fairy bluebird. It's nothing to do with fairy, right? The color, the blue is so vibrant. Like a lot of English names, when the blue is so vibrant, they use fairy. For some reason, they, unbelievable. Fairy is unbelievable. So they got fairy wren, fairy this, fairy this. And when it's fairy, it's brilliant blue, right? So, but this and this word comes from a same lineage. This is a drongo. It's a red-tailed drongo. We got two types of red-tailed drongo. This is a lowland red-tailed drongo. It's called a greater red-tailed drongo. And in the mountains, we have what is called a lesser red-tailed drongo. The Malay name is Hamba Kra. Hamba means slave. Kra is monkey. It's slave of the monkey. Why is it called slave of the monkey by the Malays? Monkeys, when they travel, including leaf monkeys, they're very clumsy. They jump. When they do that, all the insects fly. So this fellow goes, easy to catch. Just like the cattle egret just sits on the cattle and go and pick up. So that's why it's called Hamba. But this one is a very good mimic of sound. But it cannot beat the lyrebird of Australia. That is fantastic, right? This one, it can mimic other birds. And when I first started bird watching, I was chasing an eagle call. It was a half rubber estate, half overgrown forest. Finally, when I came to see which eagle this is, was this bird. I said, "Oh, bloody stupid bird." Wasted my time. I mean, that time I was maybe 21 or 22. Okay, next. Okay, these are the sunbirds, right? Excluding these two. These sunbirds, I think the British started calling them sunbirds when they came to India because they're out in the open eating nectar from the flowers. So out in the sun, that's why they're called sunbirds. They are basically nectar feeders. feed on nectar. They are not hummingbirds. Hummingbirds' lineage is totally different. Hummingbirds' lineage is actually, you'll be surprised, is swifts. Swifts' lineage and hummingbirds are on one line. Sunbirds are different, right? So they take nectar. The only time they take insects is when they feed their chicks. You need protein. So they feed caterpillar and all these things. And the other one is flying termites or flying ants. And they go up. And otherwise, they are all nectar feeders. And another thing about this flying ants or this thing, when they fly, you'll be surprised. The dusky leaf monkey, silver leaf monkey, and macaques sit on the tree, catch the fly and eat. So they are not totally vegetarian. It's just a matter of survival. I mean, you need protein, right? This bird actually takes seeds of fruits. And one of the most favorite food of this type of, they call him flower peckers. It's not, they don't really peck on the flowers. They're actually taking the seeds and all. Are the ones that spread a kind of parasitic plant. This is called mistletoe parasite. Now, mistletoe parasite is a English plant. It's found in Europe and all, but it looked like the same, so they call it mistletoe parasite. Mistletoe parasites actually burrow through the branches and suck up all this thing. And when they are all over your whole tree will die. Right? You know the so-called sakura that the former chief minister wanted to plant all over the place, and a lot of them are dying. It's because this parasitic plant is there and it kills them. In nature, this is a form of control so that you prevent one species from colonizing everywhere. In nature, there's always something that we don't understand, and you say, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Nature knows how to do this thing. So this is the most common one you can find in your gardens. This is more on the forest, right? This is scarlet-backed flowerpecker. This is orange-bellied flowerpecker. This is blue-throated sunbird. This is, actually this here is a bit, what do you call, now there's a lot of problem with this bird because different groups, the Americans have named it a different name. The British name still this thing, right? So, but we try to follow the British system because Malaysian Nature Society is part of BirdLife International. BirdLife International has got more than 100 countries as partnership. When they change a name, it's a consultative, whereas the American eBird is within the university, they decide. So, so that's a different thing. So this is one thing a lot of people, is crimson sunbird. A lot of people go to the botanical gardens to try and photograph these things because of the bright red, this thing. And that's why you plant hibiscus at home, the sunbirds will come. Any plant that has got nectar in it will come. Your hydrangeas. The old people here will remember, as kids, we pluck the hydrangeas flowers and suck. There's nectar in it, a small bit of nectar. But as kids in the village, especially the poor kids, that is something to, what do you call, appreciate. But these colors don't come out unless the sun hits it. Otherwise, the feathers of this thing is like a prism. The feathers are in such a way, and the color hits at a certain angle, so the color comes out. So when the color is not clear, this look black. And this is multicolored. I mean, this images doesn't do any justice to the actual this thing. We must see it in pure good sunlight to see the colors of this bird. Okay, next. Okay, this is another kind of bulbul that's found here. This I'm not sure whether it's introduced or not, because basically when I first started bird watching, all the books says it's up in the mountains, except 𝐾𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐻, because the mountain range goes down, so the bird also follows the range, but it's still highlands. But you can find it in Penang Hill. Not so. This is the song Yellow Bird. We all remember, way up in the banana tree. This is an oriole. It's very similar to the temperate climate golden oriole. What we have is a black-naped oriole. There's another species in Thailand, there's a slender-bill oriole, where this black line is very thin. It's supposed to have occurred up north in Peninsula. When we tried to find it, couldn't. So maybe, but old Malaysian literature says it occurs in Malaysia, but it's only in, you don't get them in 𝐾𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐻. Okay, next. Okay, why Malaysia is one of the most important stops for migratory birds that migrate from the north to the south. Penang is one of the among the most important ones. Now, if you see that line, this is where they migrate from, right? This is for shorebirds alone. So what happens is this. So they come here, they stop here, they go down, and then they go down here. Then the others bypass here. So we have been fighting I started this thing in 1996 or 7 to try and get that area protected. So under the Malaysian Nature Society's pressure, the state government had gazetted the north part of Seberang Perai mangroves as gazetted area. And we are also trying to get that area, it's not a gazettement, but recognized as an important stopover for this called the East Asia Australian Flyway. So it's recognized as a destination. We are waiting for that to be recognized. As you know, in Malaysia, this thing takes a long time because a lot of government bureaucracy takes place. So hopefully it'll be recognized. We get about 30 to 40,000 birds stopping over here to feed. And so, and this is one of the birds that stops here, but is the bar-tailed godwit. This one will fly off right up to Australia. But later, there's another one here. From Alaska, it flies to New Zealand non-stop. Day, night, non-stop. No feeding, nothing. This is a big, this thing, and bird, this thing. Later, we give you the QR code where you all can go. But be careful. The QR code, when you go, there'll be a lot of them there. Choose the correct ones. Because internet, these things are all nonsense also going on. Look for ones that has got recognized bird organizations. That's this thing. It fattens itself up. It's not the fat that bad fat, it's a good fat as a reserve so that it can power itself all the way from Alaska to this thing. And in one of the satellite studies, when they were flying, somehow, for some reason, they were blown off course. They were heading to Fiji. But their mechanism in the brain, they use magnetic they got make what you receptors in their around their eyes. Told them that's wrong. They turned around and went back to New Zealand. In the early days, they say it was moon, stars, and all. Now they is using the Earth magnetic, now our north south pole. So okay, next. So that's the end. And this is a QR code. If you take this thing, then you will know. It's called the longest migration of birds. It will give you all the good videos, the bad videos of this thing. So, and it gives you more in detail of how birds migrate. And lastly, before I go off, global warming has brought a great disruption of birds. In those days, all these migratory birds will fly back by March. July, they are still here. Some of them are still here. So we don't know exactly what's going on. So that's why we need to change our lifestyle to reduce our global warming. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kanda, to share with us the important roles of the bird and how birds inspire our invention. And also thanks to clear up the misconception that bird as a vector of disease. Next, our next section, Wings Above the Canopy, Discovering Penang Hills Butterfly, will be presented by three experts from Entopia by Penang Butterfly Farm, each bringing a unique perspective on butterfly conservation, zoological management, and nature education. First, Mr. Tan Eng Hua, head of zoology, who has spent more than a decade enhancing zoological standard at Entopia. His work focused on animal welfare, habitat management, and connecting science, conservation, and public education to inspire a great appreciation of nature. Joining him, Mr. Gan Kim Chuan, Section Head of Farming Operation, has over 13 years of experience at Entopia, from environmental education to butterfly farming. His expertise in animal breeding has contributed significantly to the care and conservation of butterfly and other invertebrates. Completing the team, Ms. Lavinia No, Senior Head of Nature Education. With a background in conservation biology and more than 9 years of experience in nature education, she had led over 1,500 nature programs, camps, and workshops, inspiring people of all ages to discover and appreciate the nature world through having fun learning about nature. Together, they will take us into a fascinating world of butterfly, exploring their diversity, ecological importance, and why Penang Hill provides such an important habitat for these remarkable insects. Please join me in welcoming them.
All right, thank you, Tacha. And thank you, everyone. Welcome to Penang Hill, and thank you for joining our seminar here. My name is Eng Hua from Entopia, and thank you, Mr. Ganda, for sharing with us so interesting and wonderful birds in the Penang and in this PHBR. And I was so fascinated about this, right? And yes, Mr. Kanda has just brought us to look at the feathers in the skies. But now, if we look out from the windows into the canopy, there is a group of winged insects and creatures around the forest. What are they? They are the butterflies. Today, my colleagues and I are very happy to share with you about butterflies. Okay, our topics today is right. Sorry. Okay, our topics today is right. We'll be sharing. Yeah, can also come back. Yeah. Okay, wings above the canopy, discovering Penang Hills butterflies. I'll start by sharing a simple history and some story, the science, and the important roles of butterflies in our nature. First, let's start from the basics. What is butterflies? All right. To us, to most of us, butterflies, we think that it is just an insects that flies around in our gardens, beautiful and very wonderful flying things in our gardens. But butterflies is actually share us and it gives us a very amazing and very different special creatures. Okay, why we name it butterflies? Butterflies. Why butterflies? Okay, the word butterflies actually came from an old, very very old English words, beautiful, beautiful. So these beautiful come from two words, beauty and first. It's combining butterflies, and there are stories behind these words. Okay, there are many many stories, and I picked two. I picked two. Next, the first one is about the color. In the past, there are very common wild butterflies in across the Europe. The color is very very bright color, bright yellow in color, and like the brimstone butterflies. So they name these things as a butterfly because the color of these butterflies is very much similar to the color of the dairy butter. Yeah, the first one. So the second one is about an old fairy tales. Okay. Last time people used to believe that the witches, they will turn themselves into butterflies and then they fly into the kitchen at night to steal the fresh milk and butter. That's why the butterflies came after this name. Yeah. Okay. So whichever the story is, either the color or the fairy tales, the butterflies' names carry until today. Right. Next. All right. We know butterflies as an flying insects, but before they can fly, they must grow. They must grow. So butterflies, they are a very very special creatures that they they go through a very very magical transformations. They start as a larva caterpillar, a slow moving caterpillars that eat leaves, and then finally they transform into a very, very beautiful flying insects, which is butterflies. So butterflies are insects categorized in the order Lepidoptera. I will talk about this Lepidoptera later. So they will go through a complete metamorphosis process. Okay. Butterfly, they start their life as an egg. After the eggs will hatch into a caterpillar. So the caterpillar will grow and form into the chrysalis, or we call it pupa. And then finally, they will break and then they turn into a beautiful butterflies. So these are all the life cycle of butterflies. All right, our scientists, they group butterflies into 6 main families, okay, namely Papilionidae, Pieridae, Nymphalidae, Lycaenidae, Rhodinidae, and Hesperidae. Yeah, it's a very difficult word. Don't worry about the hard name, but it's basically a 6 group of different butterflies groups based on their morphology and their behavior. So we have swallowtail over here, known for the large size of the wings, and then the Pieridae is most like white and sulfur butterflies, and then the Nymphalidae, their front foot is uh, modified into a brush-footed butterflies. Then our Lycaenidae, they are basically small and blue, brown colored. And then the Rhodinidae, which is a metalbugs butterflies. And then skippers is a very fast skipping butterflies with large eyes, right? Next. Okay. When we want to know how butterflies flies, we need to know about the science. So scientists also name the butterfly, they group the butterfly into the special order called Lepidoptera. So Lepidoptera, they comes from two Greek words. The first one is a lepis, and the next pteron. Lepis means the scales, and pteron means the wings. So it literally means butterfly Lepidoptera is a scaled wings. So when we look, we okay, if you ever touch a butterfly wings, right? A fine powder will run off on your fingers, correct or not? So mostly we think that it is a dust, but if you see it under microscope, you will see a million tiny scales, overlapping scales on it, So like our just line up and they just line up like our rooftop with all the tiles. Okay, so they are all the scales. Okay, and the scales are very important for them. Why? Three things. First thing, the scales they capture the wind so that they can fly. They can fly. Secondly, they can absorb the heat from the sun, and then to warm up their muscles. Okay. Third thing, they absorb the wavelength to create colors of their wings. Okay. Next. Okay. Most of the people will mix up butterflies and moth. So these two picture and is telling us how to tell their difference when you see them. Okay. Four things. Okay. First things is their antenna. Butterfly, when we look at the antenna, butterfly antenna has a long and thin and smooth antenna with a little tiny round knob at the tip. So this antenna. Whereas for moth, their antenna is feathery and fuzzy. Second thing, check the time. Okay. For butterfly, usually butterfly they fly during the day. They like suns. Whereas the moth, they only fly during the night time. If you ever notice that during the night, you will notice fly insect that bump into your walls. So in most cases, they are moth. Right. Okay. So the next thing is watch when they are resting. So during their rest, butterfly, they will close their wings straight up at their backs like this. Okay, when they're resting. But for moth, when they are resting, they will spread their wings flat. Okay. And a very general thing is butterfly usually are smaller, in contrary to moth. Moth are larger size in general. Okay, next. So butterfly, yeah, although they are small and insignificant maybe, but they are very important to our ecology, to our nature. Say the first things, butterflies is very important to our nature's health indicators. Butterfly help us to understand how healthy the environment is. A small butterfly is very delicate, very fragile. That means that they can sense the climate change and how unhealthy the forest is. So we must protect our forest. Once our forest goes unhealthy, the butterfly will disappear. Second thing, butterfly is a very important vital role in the food chain. It serves as a protein source, a food for many kinds of insects and animals like birds, bats, and others, reptiles, and also invertebrates. Last but not least, it's a very important role as pollinators. Butterflies eat nectar, so they will fly from flowers to flowers to get sweet nectar. When they are getting the sweet nectar, they will carry the pollen from the flowers together with them, and then they fly to another flowers to pollinate the other flowers. So they are the great pollinators to grow our trees and plants, the forest. Right. All right, this is my part of sharing. From now on, with that, I will share. I will pass my mics to our colleague, Mr. Gan, to share on you our diversities of butterflies.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to my colleague, Mr. Eng-Hua. So what he actually shared with you is facts. And what I'm going to share with you is actually the diversity of butterflies, especially the diversity of butterfly here in Penang Hill. So when we are getting invited by the Penang Hill management to actually join this talk, of course, without knowing the butterflies that we have here, we can't do much. So actually we did a few trips to actually do some surveys or a few trips to collect the data about the butterfly species that are available here at here. So let's see, move to the next slide. So before I start to share with you guys our findings here up at here, just to brief you guys, give you guys an idea of how many species of butterflies actually we have here in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, we have around 1,000 species of butterflies. If joined together with East Malaysia, which is Borneo, we have nearly around 1,200 species of butterflies. And here in Penang, of course, we don't really have an official record, but based on the data so far that available on the net, this is where we pull out the data. And based on the iNaturalist database, we have approximately, so far, 400 species of butterfly. And then I can see from time to time, the numbers actually keep going on, which is something good. So, okay, next slide. And okay, now this is a few trips what we conducted from the past few months, started from February, March, and April. So, so I say we are lucky enough because recently is actually a very dry and hot season this year, early this year. So luckily, why I say so, because on April, the trip, I still remember the one we conducted is actually drizzling or a bit raining. So from that onwards, we can actually have the chance to observe the butterfly that appears in both the wet and dry season. Okay, before I actually show you what we have discovered, I think I would like to show you the next slide, which is the, oh, no, you go to the, skip to the next slide. Oh, okay. Can you just, no. Never mind. No, it won't. Okay, sorry, because I just want to brief you guys actually based on the data, the finding before I actually zoom into the species that we actually discover and find. And here, this is just a brief one. Among our survey within this past 3 trips, actually we recorded 49 species of butterflies. To me, actually not many. If I hope to see more actually, because in Malaysia, in Penang itself, like what I say, we recorded so far we have around 400 species. So what we did is actually only 10%. Just to share with you guys what we have discovered. 𝐴𝐵𝐴Z𝐻, which is just like all around the world, most of the butterflies are actually from this family. So same, the data we collected here is actually out of 49 species, 45% is actually from this family. And then we have the most is equally the same, around 10%, 10 to 15%, which is Papinionidae, Pyridae, and then the Licanidae. And then the last one is Hesperidae, and then shame to say that another one, which is the Metamark, Rhodinidae. So the data is actually 0. So these butterflies, not to say rare, but I would like to say uncommon, because in Malaysia so far, if I'm not wrong, the record is we have around maybe 20 species so far, 20 or 19 have been recorded in Peninsular Malaysia. We don't really have luck. We do have it actually here. The record here in Penang here, just that during our past visit, we just don't have luck to see one. And by the way, Rhodinidae just now, the common name is actually Metamark. So just now actually we're going through my clip quite tough. So if you're wondering why we name it so Metamark, this is actually a very beautiful butterflies. Maybe not those category, not much in Penang, in Malaysia, like what I say. Usually they are well known in South America. So back in South America, these butterflies are usually the butterfly that they carry a very beautiful marking. It's actually Metamark. They actually have a sort of ring or glitters or silver color, a very striking color on their wings. a very small to medium-sized butterfly and very striking butterfly. Yeah, it's quite popular back in South America, but maybe not in Malaysia. So hence they get the name metal mark, and then the Rhodinidae. Okay, so unfortunately we don't have it. Okay, now back to the first slide. Sorry. Right. Okay. So now this is a few species that have been recorded up at here, and the first one is this is the Delius passito, Malayan jezebel. And now talking just now, Mr. Kanda actually mentioned about a bird that feeding on the Mr. Toad, the parasite plants. Yeah, and this butterfly actually playing the same role. The Delius actually, basically all the Delius, their caterpillars actually feeding on those parasite plants. And for your information, for butterflies, maybe to general public, we know caterpillars, they're actually feeding on leaf. But actually, different species of caterpillar, they have different kinds of, they're feeding on different kinds of plants. Hence, we know that as a host plant. Okay, so, and this particular species, they're actually feeding on those parasitic plant, the Mr. Toad. Okay, yeah, Delius passito. Next. So this is the very small species butterfly, quite common. They can see fluttering around, fall under the family like Echinidae or the hair-streaked butterfly. Next. And then we have the Daunas, the Dananese Melanipus. Also, we actually spotted at here. Next. And another Nymphalidae. Next. This is also another species of butterfly, fall under the family Nymphalidae. Most of it, what we discover actually fall under that Nymphalidae or brush-footed butterfly family. Okay, next. Same, this is the egg fly, or commonly known as egg fly, the Hypolinus bodina. You can see they're actually quite common, especially feeding on the nectars actually around the trails we have here and here. Okay, next. And also this is another common species that you can find around here, the 𝐟𝐸𝐸𝐲𝐢𝐧𝐠. Next. And this is another common one, Nithema, also Nymphalidae. Okay, next. And this is Papilionidae. And it's actually not clear. This is actually a mating pair. It's upside down, but it's quite far from what we get. And sorry, all the butterfly photos we don't have the proper gills. Just get it through our phone cam. And this is a Comoros butterfly, the one of the Papilionidae that we recorded here up at here. Okay, next. And this is the Sitosia mifisia, one of the lace-wing butterfly that you can find here in Penang. Okay, next. And then this is Denali, for also the Nymphalidae, the Parentica aspasia, yellow grassy tiger. Okay, next. This is a very beautiful, quite beautiful. Actually, personally, my favorite from a very small species of butterfly with very vibrant color. Okay, next. And another big butterfly that you can find up here, the great Helen. Okay. Next. And this is a skipper. Okay. Just now there's a family. We recorded so far 6%. Hesperidae, skipper. This, if you actually see it, it might looks a bit different than the typical butterfly that we know. And actually, long times ago, there's a debate that some they argue it. This is actually not a butterfly; they are moth. But after quite some study about their genes, their evolution, their night age, they are actually a butterfly. Okay, it's a butterfly with a bead head and with a small wing. It's quite maybe to you they look like a moth, so we didn't actually notice them. But now today that you can actually having a chance to actually knowing them. A skipper. Hesperidae. Okay, next. And this is the discoverer, the common duffer. Okay, next. And this is the butterfly, also fall under the Echinidae. Okay, now this is, if I'm not wrong, sorry, the butterfly, we have a lot of species of butterfly. And butterflies, the caterpillar, I mentioned a lot of time, feeding on leaf. Okay, so sorry, not for this one. This one, the caterpillar, they are carnivorous. They're feeding on the ant larva. So this is what actually unique about this small species of butterfly. Okay, next. And Zeuxidia amethysis, the great satin. Great satin, like the name suggests, great satin. This is one of the largest butterfly we have here in Malaysia, or beside the iconic Raja Broper ring. Okay, next. And then we have Amatusia. This is pumpkin butterfly. They're usually the caterpillar feeding on those palm. And this is another skipper, like what you see, very dull color, looks like a moth. But indeed, actually a butterfly, okay? Hence is appearing here. And another beautiful butterfly, Sitosia mifisia. And next, and this is another big butterfly, the paper kite, 𝐸𝐸𝐴 hypernemstra. Okay, next. And the courtesan, the Euripus. Okay, next. I think that's the last. I think it repeat. I think that's all. Okay, you can jump. Is it? This one's Pyrridae. So it's a yellow butterfly. So Pyrridae is actually a family is by itself, just like what my colleague mentioned. Basically, commonly we know as white and sulfur. White and sulfur because these butterflies fall under this family. Most of them are actually white in color or yellow in color, or the color looks like sulfur. In the common name, white and sulfur. Okay, next. And oh yeah, this is actually we don't really have a photo of these plants. I forgot the name. This is a very a kind of favorite nectar plants for the male Denane butterfly. You can find along the trails close to the Kopi Hutan. Whenever you see this flower, you will see a lot of Denane. Denane is a subfamily of Nymphalidae butterfly, we know as a tiger and crow butterfly. And usually these male butterfly, they were attracted to certain plant. When they dry out, they will produce some sort of a chemical or minerals that they need it very much actually, which is helpful for them to during courtship or mating time. So Denane, I'm not sure now, it depends on the season, whether it's blooming, whether the flower is dying. Then when it start to dry, you will see a lot of, they will swarm there. This picture, unfortunately, we only took two. Actually, if you can a big photo, you get an idea how the butterfly like that kind of minerals they can be found in this plant. Okay, next. This is another Denane. So just now we mentioned tiger and crow. If you notice the previous photos, the butterfly is actually with a stripe, looks like tiger, and this one black in color, crow. So hence the common name tiger and crow, the Denane subfamily. Okay, next. This is another skipper. This is actually quite a beautiful skipper compared to the previous one. My photo don't actually do justify. It got actually a cyan or green color head. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay. Okay. Now, among all the butterfly that we have spotted here, I pick up two. But otherwise, I can't. I don't have much time to actually show you guys or talk that much about butterfly. So one of them would be the 𝐶𝐸𝐴 𝐴𝐵𝐵𝐶. Now in Malaysia, we have 4 species of lacewing butterfly or fall under the genus 𝐶𝐸𝐴. Okay. And now back in our farm, actually, we do butterfly breedings and we have been dealing with like butterfly breedings. 4 species, among the 4 species, so far we have working with the other 3 species, but unfortunately not for this one. So this is actually what actually quite surprised me because you can show them, it's actually a video. Yeah. It's a very beautiful butterfly with a very vibrant and striking color, as you can see. So 𝐶𝐸𝐴 𝐴𝐵𝐵𝐶 and then another video. So what actually impressed us is actually what you see, but again, this video, because vertical format, we can't actually do a justify. We actually found a spot that, quite surprisingly, we found a lot of these butterflies because they are orange thing flying around. We can repeat the video again, so sorry. The video is quite short because we took it with the phone. Yeah, we counted is around easily 12 to 14 individuals actually flying at the same time at a particular spot. So this is what actually quite impressed me because I never see that much of this so-called plain lacewing butterfly or orange lacewing butterfly in that huge amount of flying at the same time. So for your information, you have chance, we can share with you the location. The location is somewhere else between the Kopi Hutan and along the trail to Tiger Hill. Yeah, maybe I think most of them are male, so I'm not sure is it the host plant is nearby or what. But that's the area where you can see a lot of this beautiful butterfly flying around, wander around. Okay, next, butterfly spotlight. Okay, next, you can play the video of this one. This is the commonly known as the tree neem or the paper kite or the 𝐸𝐴 hypernemstra, but I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see now it's quite clear. No, not sorry. Only video. The rest is the photo. Okay. Now this butterfly, if you see closely, they actually have a transparent wings. So when they fly, they are kind of big butterfly. When they fly, they seem to butterfly with a big wing. They glide. So with the transparent, they looks like a kite. So usually, commonly we know that as a paper kite, paper kite butterfly or tree neem butterfly. It's pretty beautiful butterfly. Sometimes if you're walking around the trail here, like the nature trails, you will see something actually fly away, a shadow. You might thought it's a bird or even though it's a bat, but it's actually, when you lift out your head, it's actually this butterfly. Yeah, it's actually quite impressed butterfly. And then what's surprising us actually during this trip, we also find the host plants. The host plant that this caterpillar feed on, and this tiny little thing is actually the eggs. And I think 1, 2, 3, these are also the eggs of this butterfly. So like I mentioned, butterfly host plants. So means they depend heavily. Okay, the population depend heavily on the host plant availability. So you can imagine if this plant, if that area we wipe out deforestation, we clear out all the land. If the plant gone, means the butterfly for that particular area will be gone as well. So yeah, that's why we try to highlight and to me this butterfly is actually quite special, because a lot of butterfly enthusiasts who know this, they will know this is actually the spot actually that to find them Penang here up at the hill, because we do some survey again from INET, not much data available, but INET database, 80% of this butterfly in Penang actually spotted here in Penang here. So yeah, again, Idea hypernestra. And
the same as the one you see in Triangle? It's completely white.
Which one?
Completely white, a large white butterfly you see. So it's like a big.
Yeah, paper cut. Should be this one. Yeah, with the dot.
Sometimes completely white.
Yeah, usually when they fly, you will see they're gliding instead of flutter their wings. They glide. Yeah. Hopefully, but in Malaysia again, we have 4 species of Idea, so it could be the other one. But here mostly are Idea hypernestra. Another one we have the Idea leucono, Idea stoli, and then Idea lynceus. Okay, and that's all for my sharing. And I would like to pass the mic next to.
All right. So, very interesting sharing from my team members. So they are mainly specialized in animals and butterflies. So for me, I do education. So my entire motive is to make learning about education interesting and fun enough so that when the children or you all hear my facts later, then you all will like it. Okay, so I'm going to share a bit about conservation, because we all know in general, what does conservation do? But do we really know, like in specific, what is conservation? Okay, so let's look at the next slide. All right, so generally, okay, in conservation, there are 2 types that you can do. Okay, so in situ conservation, which means it is on site. You use that entire area, which the entire ecosystem, you protect the entire place on its own. Okay, you don't make any changes to it, or you can even label it as the protected area. Okay, so where the examples are like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and even the biosphere reserve. So these are the in situ conservation, or we call the on-site conservation. Okay, but there are also places that we call that we know them as ex situ conservation. Okay, which is off-site, which means that the animals are not in their original habitat. Okay, but they are in a place that is actually being created. Okay, so that's why you see it is protecting a certain species outside of its natural habitat in a controlled environment. Okay, so for example, we have the zoological parks or even your aquariums, they are doing that. Okay, and also botanical gardens and even gene banks, because now you have researchers, they are being done, okay, in labs or even in gene banks that they keep, because we have so many animals, they are going extinct, right? So that's why they are doing researches to bring like the animals back. So these 2 are the types of conservation that you can do. Okay, so maybe everyone knows that we can do national parks because it is very common. You need to protect the entire area. But what that we have actually always neglected is actually the ex situ conservation. So which means that we bring conservation outside of their original habitat. So, but of course, in this controlled environment, it is very important to have a human and animal friendly environment, which means like what Ms. Tacha has shared earlier also about the human and animal, how can they live in harmoniously in one environment. Okay, so I'm going to share more about ex situ, because I believe you have heard a lot about in situ conservation from the hills and then up to the wetlands, you know. So now I'm going to share about the ex situ conservation. So on the next slide. Okay, so ex situ conservation are being built based on these roles. So maybe from the previous years when zoos are being built, what is their role mainly? When you want to bring your child, you know, when they are maybe much younger, or even yourself, you know, when you want to go to a zoo, what do you expect to see there? Animals, yeah, that perhaps you will not see them in the wildlife, you know. So perhaps back then, the main thing is actually on recreation. Okay, you go there to walk around and see animals that you have not seen, so that you are not on YouTube, because last time there's no YouTube, right? So the only place that you can see animals is in aquariums or even in zoos. But now YouTube, AI, they are so convenient. So that's why right now where we can see the real one. You know, we even have people that they come to us and they are like, oh, why do you even have zoos? We can see them online. So I just do a very quick survey with everyone here that you prefer to see them in real or you prefer to see them online. A show of hands if you prefer to see them online. Okay, a show of hands if you want to see them in real. Yeah, that's more like it, thank God. Okay, so yeah, so that's why when we want to see them in real, that's where the 𝐿𝐶2 conservation have to happen. Because yes, you can go into the wild. Like for example, I can go and hike Gunung Tahan, I can go and hike here and there, or I can even go a walk stroll in Penang Hill. But what are the chances that you can see the animals? Yeah, so in order to get interest, you know, maybe 2 times I come to Penang Hill, oh, I got nothing to see. You know, so that's where the 𝐿𝐶2 and in-situ, they actually can make effort together so that they can see from here. And now they use the real in-situ conservation area to go and see in real. They get to try to find and see whether, you know, they can see the real animal or not. Okay, so the roles of 𝐿𝐶2, right now we are focusing a lot more actually on especially education. Okay, and also conservation. Of course, some of the places they can do conservation, they can reintroduce, they can even to, you know, they breed, they do the gene researches, and then they can put it back to nature, and also of course research purposes. Okay, so maybe the next one. All right, so a very quick overview, a very simple image thanks to AI, okay, that they have generated the importance of 𝐿𝐶2 conservation. We all know that 𝐿𝐶2 conservation can prevent extinction, okay, because you try to protect them. You know, when you know that there's one last white rhinoceros left, what you do? You protect them in the zoo, okay? You feed them nicely. You try to, you know, introduce a male or, you know, a female for them so that they get to, you know, try to continue their lifespan. But sometimes things doesn't happen, okay, because this is just how nature is, okay. And also, so of course, one of the things that you can do for 𝐿𝐶2 is of course preventing extinction. But of course, there's also reintroduction program that some of the gene banks or even, you know, some of the researchers, they are doing it, you know, when they get to you know, do studies, and then they get to reintroduce it back, okay, back to nature, okay. And also they restore the wild habitat. But of course, before they want to restore it, proper research have to be done, because captive animal can't really go out immediately because they lost the sense of hunting their own food. Some people will worry about that, because when you know, you keep on feed them, okay, and then in the end when they go to the wild, they cannot. So how you can improve in that is that you let them hunt, okay, you let them try to hunt in the enclosed area. You know, you set up an area and then you let them hunt, okay. When they have their behavior being set, they will do the study and everything. Then when they are ready, they will reintroduce them back, okay, back to nature. And of course, preserving through the genetic diversity, this tree. And this one, usually only scientists will do it lah. Okay, so this tree all requires like researchers and scientists, but there are not much people that are keen or even interested to actually become scientists or even researchers. How many of you have friends that are doing researchers or like scientists in a lab? Anyone? Of course, like within our field, it is very common. Okay, but when we walk out to public, you know, is there a lot of them? Actually, no. You know, for us, to be frank, for us to employ people who are in this background to continue in their field is so difficult. For me, I graduated in conservation biology, a degree. So yeah, we offer that in a local university. Okay, but almost none of my classmates actually continue their journey in this line. So it is actually very sad. Okay, so that's where the research and education actually comes in. Because from there is the pathway that you can now reach out to more people, because usually all this is only within their circle. You will know that unless it's being published in the news, you know, that a successful one is being like released or anything. If it's in the news, then you will know it lah. But or else, basically, you won't get to know anything about how all these are happening. So the only way that we can do is actually through research and also education. So that's where the 𝐿𝐶2 conservation for us, what we do is we focus a lot on education, conducting programs, running camps, you know, or even through simple activities that when you come to this place, you get to actually learn about them more, generate their interest, okay, so that they can start to love science when they are young, and then when they graduate or when they even go, you know, when they are older in their studies, then they can actually try to go into the science field instead of being YouTubers, okay. Yeah, so So yes, so this is what we actually wanted to focus on, because through public awareness as well, we get to reach out to more people. Yeah, and also like what Mr. Kanda has shared, to top up on what he has shared, sharing the correct information is very, very important. Because for example, I just give you an example. Just now when we were having our booth, okay, in Penang Hill during this Penang Hill Festival, people come and ask us, isn't this caterpillar can make you itchy? Or isn't it poisonous? Why are you like letting us touch them? But for us, it's like, oh, we are actually telling you that, okay, caterpillars are actually not really poisonous. But because of the hair, sometimes you will see a moth. How to differentiate a moth caterpillar and a butterfly's caterpillar? We share the correct information out to them, and they'll know that, oh, so that's how it is. And now they can share it to their friends. Yeah, so that's how awareness actually is being gained. That's why sharing the correct information is actually very important. Yeah, okay, so to end my sharing, okay, I will need the next slide. All right, so this is how 𝐿𝐸𝐶 conservation through education. You basically can create awareness, you can prevent extinction, you can introduce like programs that you can reintroduce the animals or even preserving the diversity. And most importantly is what the action that is being done, and also for the future generation, or else we don't want a generation in the future, they can't enjoy nature just like how you all are enjoying it right now. Okay, so I just want to quote Jane Goodall, okay, because only if we understand, we care. Only if we care, we will help. And only if we help, we shall be saved. All right, so thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you to the Entopia team to have a very informative presentation from how butterfly get its name to what is the importance of 𝐿𝐸𝐶 conservation. So now, I would like to call upon our last speaker, Dr. Lim C. Sim. Dr. Lim has been actively involved in biodiversity research since 2002, beginning with her master research at University Kebangsaan Malaysia, where she studied mitochondrial DNA polymorphism and the polygeography of Malayas. Her research journey later developed into a specialization in bat ecology and conservation, supported by extensive field studies across the rainforests of Peninsular Malaysia. Since joining University of Science Malaysia in 2012 as a lecturer, Dr. Lim has continued to contribute to research on bat diversity, conservation, long-term monitoring, and community-based initiatives. Her current work focuses on understanding and conservation bat population, including monitoring bat routes, wildlife rescue, and developing solutions that promote harmonious human-wildlife coexistence. Through her research and outreach effort, Dr. Lim continued to enhance public awareness and appreciation of bat and their important role in maintaining healthy ecosystems. Today, Dr. Lim will be presenting on the mammals that take the sky of Penang Hill. Please join me to welcome Dr. Lim.
Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for coming here today. So now so now it's around 5. Oh, and this one?
That's correct.
Oh, that's what. Okay. Okay, so nearer, even nearer. Oh, okay. So because I just recovering from my infection. So, okay. um okay, so yeah, now it's around evening already. Okay, so everyone is getting ready, okay, maybe for dinner and a rest. And now is the mammal species that I'm going to share with you is going to just wake up. Yeah, so today I just would like to share with you all some mammal species that are able to fly, and is found in Penang Hill. Yeah. So the first animals that come into our mind, okay, when we talk about the mammals that are able to fly, is, I think, of all of you, okay, will straight away think of bats. Yeah. So yes, actually in Penang Hill, we host quite a rich bat diversity. Okay, quite a number of bat species, and the actual bat diversity of Penang Hill is actually still under study. So back in 2017, I think Penang Hill Corporation and the Habitat organized 𝐵ioBliss 2017. Okay, and we got a chance, okay, to survey. Only focus due to our manpower and resources. We only focus on one trail. That is the Monyot Trail of the Penang Hill, which is also connected to the 𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐺 Trail at the end. Okay, and just within this trail, okay, which is quite isolated from the town, okay, and it's still quite quite remote and forestry. We are able to record 8 species of bats just within that trail. Okay, so next. And not just that, we also found that a new record, okay, for the bat species from Penang, for Penang Island during that survey. Okay, that is this spotted wing fruit bat. Okay, it's a very fragile bat. Okay, so if you all have experience in handling bats, you know that this bat, they really need to live in the forest, because when they are going out of the forest, they will get dehydrated very quickly, and then their face will turn red, and then they will pass away. So it is a bats that to me, based on my experience, very depend on the humid and then vegetative environment. And apart of that, in the Monyot Trail, we also have other 7 species of bats. Okay, so apart from this spotted wing fruit bat, they are feeding on fruit. Okay, the rest of the bat species along the Monyot Trail that we are able to record are all feeding on insects, arthropods. Okay, and some of them, they are also feeding on the insects such as beetles, okay, and then moth. Okay, next. So so just now the other bats that are very depends on the forest, okay, and they really choose choose to live and forage in the Monyot Trail, which is quite forestry. And down in the hill, we actually have a colony, okay, that is already evolved, a bat species that is already evolved and adapted to live with human. Okay, and that is if you are hikers and you are locals who are familiar with 𝐼𝐴𝐴𝐻 area, you will come across the Bat Cave Temple. Okay, so this is actually the photo before they burned down in 2022. Okay, so this colony, okay, of bats is a very tough bat. Not just that they already adapted to live with human for more than a century, they also able to survive in numerous incidents that can actually kill them all at once. And one of it is the fire, okay, that actually burned the whole temple entirely back in 2022. Okay, next. Yeah, so this is a previous one, and this is a rebuilt temple, and the cave is just behind the temple. Okay, so the temple is rebuilt, okay, and officially opened in the last January. Yeah, so within 2022 and until 2026 January, okay, I have been continue my roots observing and monitoring, okay, during this rebuilding process. Okay, so the rebuilding process actually involve drilling, okay, involve a lot of construction work that is very noisy and actually contribute to a very quite causing quite air polluting components. Okay, but the bats, they are still roosting in the cave, and then also have every breeding season they are able to how to say, raise about 13, okay, 10 to 13 babies to adult. Okay, so it's a very amazing and very tough colony. So this colony is actually next. Okay, so if you walk into the temple and go to the cave, it's a very small cave actually. It's actually, in fact, to the geologist, probably is not a limestone. It's not a definitely not a limestone cave, but it's a cave that is formed due to two big rocks, the stacking of two big rocks. Okay, so it's about this shilling height. Okay, so that is how close the colony can get with human. And remember, because it's a temple cave, so devotees and tourists are going in and out, okay, on daily basis.
One species.
Yes, our DNA tests show that it's only one species. Yeah, one species, and this species has been dependent on this cave for more than a century, because the cave was started to not built, is formed since 1916, I think. Yeah. So since that year, that time when the devotees start to going to visit the cave, the bat is already there, and the colony was much bigger than now. So now, roughly, I started to monitor the colony back in 2018. So my records is the highest numbers of bat is about 70 individuals. But after the burn down and rebuilding, nowadays is around between 50 something, or 40 something to 50 something. So within 45 to 50 something like that. Yeah. Yes.
So is there any possibility that this feature of bat has virus that can be transmitted to
Okay,
human
I
beings?
can maybe let me finish first, and then I will come back to your question. Okay, yeah, I will remember your question. Yeah. Okay. So next, so this is the single species colony called black-bearded tombat. Okay, so yeah, so this is how they look like. Okay, so yeah, tourists quite commonly they will take a picture when they come to the cave. Okay, but I really thanks to them, because I observed that the tourists and the devotees, they are quite cooperative, because when they take a picture of the bats, they didn't turn on the flash. Okay, so please don't do so, because we always go into the cave during the daytime, which is they are actually supposedly their sleeping time. Okay, so better we don't disturb them with the light source and also with the noise source, although they actually can tolerate very loud noise. Can you imagine during the rebuilding process, the drilling and the hammering and all? I think human cannot take it, but the bats can sleep so sweet. Yeah. Okay. So that is the temple is at the foothill of Penang Hill. Okay. There's also the big brother, the king of the bats. So actually, Penang Hill also used to host the biggest bat species, or what we call the flying fox. Okay, and it's the largest of all flying fox. Okay, so it is the Pteropus vampirus. Okay, the largest flying fox of all the flying foxes in the world. Okay, so I was speaking and checking with Mr. KP Ong just now. Have you seen this when you are during the childhood? Yeah, yes, but nowadays, I think after more than 10 years, I keep observing. I don't think this flying fox still here. Yeah. So so next. Yeah, so this one, because I don't have the photo, so I'm adopting the photo from Charles Francis' book, because I really love the drawings. It's really very real. And so the flying fox, the IUCN status is endangered and is decreasing. But the rest of the bat species that I mentioned just now, they are considered least concern. Okay, but this one is endangered. But it's already, I think, locally extinct from the Penang Hill, if not wrong. Okay.
Where are most of the populations now? Where are the population mostly of this large fox found?
Sorry.
Which part of the world is it still?
I think these flying foxes, they can found so far for Asia mainland. Is found from all the way from, I think, Thailand, the coastal area of Thailand, and then the peninsular Malaysia, and also Sumatra Island. And I think can go until the I'm not sure whether it will go until Java or not. Yeah. But the southern part study, there was a study radio tracking these flying fox in the southern part of peninsular Malaysia. They actually can fly between Sumatra and I think the Malacca or Johor part, yeah, of the peninsular Malaysia. So they can cross the sea. Yeah, just like the birds, but cannot fly that far all the way from Alaska to the New Zealand. I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, this is the one. And the next one. Okay, so just now these are all the bats. Okay, they are actually the only mammals. Bats are the only mammals with true flight. They really can fly. Okay, true flight ability. But there are actually two more species of mammals. Okay, that found in Penang Hill. That actually using the sky. Okay, to move around. Okay, so they are not really able to fly, but they also have a similar wing membrane, okay, or skin membrane that evolved to become a wing glide thing that helping them to glide from tree to tree, from canopy to canopy. So one of it is the Sunda flying lemur. I think it's quite common, okay, in Penang Hill, okay, and even I think even daytime, sometimes we can see them sleep on the tree branch and all that. Okay, so it's from the order the Moptera. Okay, using the skin as a wing. Okay, so just now bats is a Chiroptera using the finger and the wing membrane to fly. So next. Okay, so this is a picture, okay, sharing from Mr. Ong as well, from his observation when he's bringing the kids for the night camp, education camp. So he always encounter this nightlife, and then he would take a picture, and then he shared with me, okay? So, yeah, so this is the Colugo, okay, Sunda Colugo that really the photo are taken from Penang Hill. Okay, so how to recognize between the Colugo and the bats when they are flying in the sky? For me, the way I identify is the Sunda Colugo, their shape is a bit pentagon. Okay, when they are in the sky. Okay, and the way also when they glide, they won't flap usually they will flap their wing. But for bats, they will flapping their wing and they will twist a lot, okay, when they are moving around the canopy. Okay, so these are feed on tree leaves and then shoots, okay, and probably some seeds, okay. However, to us, it's still understudied, okay. So during the last BioBliss 2017, okay, we actually surprisingly, when we are walking using our bat detector, okay, to detect the bats using based on their echolocation, okay, their ultrasound calling, okay, we surprisingly detected that this Sunda Colugo actually able to emit ultrasound as well. Yeah, so it's a very impressive and excited discovery. However, because due to their a bit relative solitary behavior than the bats, okay, so to be honest, we do not know what is the purpose of the ultrasound for until today. Yeah, so that's why it is still a lot of this kind of biological aspect on this species that will really probably, I think to me, we should know more so that we know how to live harmoniously with them. Yeah, and the local people will tell me, share with me before, that this species cannot be kept in the captivity. Yeah, I think there are some local people, they try to, when they found it, okay, they try to keep it in the captivity as pet. But unlike the sugar gliders and all that, this animal will stress and they will die. Yeah, so yeah, that's why they prefer wild. Okay, so that's why how the preservation and the conservation of their habitat is important, because they can't stay ex situ. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, so the last species I'll show you. So we have one order, okay, the finger wing, and then we have another order of mammal, okay, the skin wing, and now even the rodentia, okay. There's this in the order rodentia, okay. I think in Malaysia we have more than 5 species of flying squirrel. However, on Penang Hill we only have this species. It's a red giant flying squirrel with very impressive and I think quite nice, orangey brownish color of the flying squirrel. Okay, so yeah, so please click on the link. So Mr. 𝐾𝐵 has shared with me a video that he able to record it on the 9 March this year, right? On the flying squirrel along the Viaduct Trail. Yeah. Right? Where is it? Yeah, so this the diet so far from what is also very understudied, this species. And so far from what I know, what we know, the diet of this flying squirrel probably about the same like the flying lemur, the Sunda Kolugo just now. But still, honestly, they are very understudied. Okay, so this is also the largest flying squirrel of all the other species that able to found in Malaysia, if not wrong. Okay. So when they are flying in the sky, okay, you can distinguish, okay, by the square shape. Okay, so the Kolugo is a pentagon. Okay, so the bat is a like elongated shape, okay, and flapping their wings. So this flying squirrel also, it won't flap a lot, okay, it's gliding as well. It cannot fly, it's just gliding with the skin membrane, okay, but it's in square shape and one tail. Okay, so a square and a line, okay, so that is how you can recognize in the night sky. Okay, so all these are okay. Cannot, then if cannot, then just skip. Never mind. Then cannot, Yeah, this one cannot. So this one recorded by Mr. Ong 9 March. Okay, yeah, along the Viaduct Trail, if not wrong. Yeah, but this flying squirrel did not decide to fly, so it stay on the branch. Yeah.
Is this the same as the black squirrel that we see, or is it
No.
totally different?
I think Thailand have the same species, but the Thailand one have the whitish face. Yeah.
There's a black animal in Penang Hill. Black squirrel.
Black.
Black.
Oh no, the daytime one, the icon of the Penang Hill, right? I like that one, the black giant squirrel. That one is totally different. Yeah, different gene. I think different family probably. It doesn't have this skin membrane. No, it's just a normal morphology of a squirrel, but it's in a very large form. Yeah, and I think the black giant squirrel is a daytime mammals. Yeah, so they come in the daytime to feed and they rest at night. But this one, nighttime, and very shy. I think very shy. Until not many people know. Yeah, I remember there's in a one education program when I showed this species, and the kids start to know, wait, I know, this is sugar glider. Then I'm like, no, this probably more precious than sugar glider. Yeah. So yeah, we have our own flying squirrel. Okay. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. This is, I think, like this. Yeah, very big. Yeah. So just now the video is taken from a distance. Yeah, so you can imagine the size. Yeah, but we also have small small flying squirrel that size, but not found in, so far not found in Penang Hill. Yeah, still, so yeah, a lot of biodiversity on Penang Hill is still actually understudied. Okay, of all the bats that I shared just now, okay, about 10 species of them, actually majority of the species, their detailed biology aspect is still understudied. We only know these species and where they live, but how they breed, specifically their diet and all that, still understudied. Yeah. Okay. So with this, I think that's all. Okay. Thanks very much. Okay, to Mr. Ng, Nature Classroom Camp by Nature Green Farm, and Penang Hill Corporation, and the Bat Cave Temple for sharing the photos and also the videos. Okay, thank you. So I choosing the dark background because all the mammals I share here, they're active at night. Yeah. So yeah. Again, back to your question again. Can you? Yeah, it's about the.
The bats
Huh.
found in the temple, is there a risk that virus
So far, to me, okay, based on my observation, among all the species that I came across, this is the bat species that have been co-roosted, recorded history of co-roosted with human for very long. Of course, we know that bats have the very strong immune system, that they can tolerate a lot of microorganism. That's why they have quite a lot of microorganism on their body. However, I don't think that the risk is very high. I don't think so. Yeah, because some of the microorganism, they will choose to stay in the animals, but they won't jump to human unless you really but it's very unlikely. Yeah, because like this colony is already roosting in the cave for more than 100 years. Yeah, so far there's no infection happened.
There's another colony of bats near Moon Cave.
Another colony of
Near
bats.
the hiking trail. Near Banana Garden. And there are flower bats.
I'm not sure which one, but I know that near Boongate at the top there's a colony of this one. Can you go back to the second slide? No, here. There's a colony of this great round-leaf bat. When you walk, you hike to the Moongate until certain height, certain level. There's a very open trail. You cannot see any plant. It's just the soil. Yeah, and then you wait for there until evening, until this, not yet, until 7 p.m. like that. Okay, and then there will be quite a large group of them flying towards you. If you are standing on the trail, they basically can, but it won't be until to the extent like what you can see in the Mulu Cave or in the Kundasang. But still you will feel, because of their size, it's quite big. So when they fly, you feel the wind and all that, you will feel like, oh. Yeah. About the colony that you said, probably I haven't encountered yet. Yeah. This one is down at the foothill. Oh, I see. Near the stream, in the Moongate area, there's a very interesting phenomenon. The bats will come come out very early. I think around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, the bats start flying. But it won't be a lot, but it will come to the peak is when the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Yeah. So don't surprise if you are hiking that trail around 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. and you observe something flying like bats. Yeah, they are bats. Yeah. Yes. For the Bat Cave Temple. Yeah. I actually for this, yes, from my record, I think since it was before, it's like I think before burn and after burning of the temple, the number of offspring they produce from this colony annually is still stable. This is quite surprised me because I have been observing since 2018. So I know that roughly every year, okay, during the end of March, they will start to have babies out. And then the nursing period will take about one month. So, and then after that, by the end of May, all the juvenile will turn adult. Yeah. And then somehow the population will go back to the as its normal population number. So that means the young one will live at end of the year. Yeah, around September, October. So
How long does a bat live? What's the lifespan of a bat?
not sure. Yeah, not sure yet. Yeah, and I suspect that actually their colony interaction during the mating season, because every year, end of the year, there was sharp drop of the number of the individual. Yeah, in the cave, and then after that, during the March, it will come back. Yeah, the mothers probably, I don't know, but it will come back. And then also the ratio of male and female is also quite stable. Yeah, so it's like about 45 bats. So it's always around 10 male and 30 female. So the ratio is always this pattern. Yeah. It may be a little bit more, a little bit fewer, but it is follow the trend. Yeah, so that means the burning of the temple doesn't cause any negative impact to them. Actually, they can still live well. Yeah. So it's a very tough land. Yeah. But they do have very strong roots fidelity. They really stick to their roots very much. Yeah, very strong. They have strong bond to their roots because whatever heavy or dangerous incident happens to their roots, they still choose to return to the same. Yeah, because previous history, when we still do not know much of them, okay, I think the local people have putting, some chemical to kill them. So there was one killed entirely colony, maybe not fully killed, but some left. But then I think within 1 or 2 years, so they have very strong bond to this cave, more than 100 years. Yes. Yeah. So,
Thank you, Doctor.
okay, thank you.
So thanks to Dr. Lim for sharing us about these flying and gliding mammals of Penang Hill. So now we would like to open the floor for questions. So just let us know your name and the question to which speaker. So anyone have any questions?
Question. You asked about the black giant squirrel. There's another species. It's called cream-colored giant squirrel. It's not found on Penang. Sound on the mainland, and I was 40 years old or what. But now I think they've split them into two. I'm not very sure. So in Malaysia, there are two colored. One is black and the one is cream colored.
So if there's no any questions, so I would like to call upon everyone for we have another talk section tomorrow on the title of what does it cost to protect our coast and sea. So it will be from 2 to 4 p.m. at the same venue. And can we have a photograph session?